So had you done open source stuff before that?
Yeah, my first open source project was really my first actual programming project that was like serious. So back when I was in high school, got my first laptop as I'm about to go off to college, and I was like, I'm gonna install Linux on there because Windows Millennium Edition was terrible, yada yada yada. And I downloaded or I got a Ubuntu whatever 7.04 um CD burned, installed it on my laptop, and we had dial up at my parents' house. And so I like realized very quickly you don't just download an executable and it installs everything. You like run a package manager and it goes from finds dependencies, and that really requires internet. So my first real open source project was called Carex, where I reverse engineered that in Python, and I could run it on a flash drive at school on a high-speed internet, download it to a flash drive, and then install offline when I got home. So it was kind of a ridiculous project for my first like real programming thing. But you know, you put yourself in the fire and you have to learn it and figure it out. And I learned a lot real fast. But I bet you I wrote that from scratch like 14 times because I didn't know object-oriented programming. So I like learned like, oh, I'll try using a class here, even though I don't really know how or why I would apply this because I'm teaching myself programming in grade school and high school and stuff. So nothing from a professional standpoint, but that got me to like learn about testing and classes and other stuff. So yeah, learned a heck of a lot doing that for a few years.
Cool.
Now, was that open source and was posted somewhere and
Yeah,
available for people? Okay.
yes. So I was spending a ton of time on the Ubuntu forums, writing tutorials and just chatting with people, answering questions if I could.
Okay.
And so I wrote the first version, like uploaded it to the forum, I think, as a zip file, and made a new forum thread announcing this and what it does and whatever. And there's lots of other people there who picked it up, like rural people definitely liked it because they also had dial-up that wasn't consistent, or it'd be downloading a package like Firefox and its dependencies all night long, and it would like hiccup at 4 a.m. and whatever. So they liked using that. But I found that there were other people around the world, like somebody in South Africa had a school that they used Carex to download all the software and install, because they had really spotty electricity and power and internet, of course. So I was getting like messages from these people asking for different features and whatever. And I remember, I'd have to look it up, but somebody in the government emailed or messaged me about it too, because they were like, yeah, I'm working on this like this computer that is secure and cannot have network access, and this is the only like easy way I can download stuff and put it on there. And I was like, what? So it was a really unique little project because there were a few alternatives, but they weren't run on a flash drive. And luckily, Python is available and easy to run on Windows and whatever. So it was like a nice project for me to pick up. I didn't know it at the time, but I learned a crazy amount from doing that, just because I built it and then shared it with people and they used it, and in ways I had never planned. So it was a lot of fun, and always kind of, I remember watching the downloads and just like going crazy over, I get another 50 downloads or whatever. And then eventually after a few years, it was 150,000 or 250,000, something like that. And I got like interviewed in the Linux Journal magazine. I have like a copy of that at home. There's an article interview with me about it. It was wild, like for an open source project for a college student to be doing that. So yeah, that was my first real project and like first open source thing, because I did open source because I wanted to give back to the community who like did all this open source code so I could run Ubuntu and like use my computer instead of Windows, where everything was locked down and proprietary and everything. So that really inspired me. And then, after that, I was like, well, now I need the next project that I do to surpass that. And so it's been chasing that ever since, I feel like.
If you like this clip and want to watch another one, you can click right here. Or if you want to watch the full video, you can click here.